Hello my Beatles friends, welcome back to another video. In this video I want to have a little discussion with you. There's a topic that's circled around the Beatles community, vinyl community all around Europe, not Europe, YouTube, sorry, that new Beatles release is coming this year. And we are talking about these two albums. Now, I didn't want to get involved and I didn't want to talk about that at all. But recently, few things happened that triggered me into making this video. So let's have a little discussion. The first thing that happened is I found this blue box minus 4 albums, very cheap in one record store, and it was less than 100 euros, so I said I'm gonna take it. But there are 4 albums missing. So we had a little discussion with the seller, and in the end he tells me, yeah, you got yourself a good deal, you are taking the very nice blah blah blah, you know, everything like that. And then he said, you find those 4 albums that are missing, and yeah, you have the entire Beatles catalog. And I was like, really? So I made a mistake by saying him no. And he says, what? Like, who are you to tell me no? Something like that. And then I started to tell him that, you know, there is also Magical Mystery Tour album that is not in the box and blah blah blah. And then he said, okay. And then I said there are also singles and there's an EP box, and that was my mistake. He started lecturing me, he started teaching me, and I was like, oh God, come on. So he was saying, he obviously was not a Beatles fan, he obviously didn't know what he was talking about, he's just selling, you know. And I'm already, you know, realized that I made a mistake by starting this conversation, so I want to bring this conversation to a close. And I'm standing halfway in the door, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, man, you're right, absolutely, of course, yeah, you're right, yeah, sure. So and he won't stop. Okay, so it took forever, so I went. That's event number 1. Event number 2. There was a guy who also didn't know anything about Beatles. The Beatles is a new world for him, and he said, I want to get involved in the Beatles. And he said, okay, help me get anthologies. And I was like, wait a second. Why anthologies? He said it's a good compilations. It's many songs. There are 3 records in each anthology. It's a lot of songs. I want to have CD. I said, whoa, slow down. Compilation? Get into the Beatles? By anthologies? I said, no. You know what anthology is? Anthology is the album released in the 90s with studio outtakes, with studio chat. He said, no, it's a greatest hits. I want to have greatest hits. You see the cover? I said, oh gosh. You know what? Leave me alone. And then he said, okay, let me check it out. So he called me back later and he said, yeah, you're right. Okay, I don't want anthologies. Advise me what is the best thing for a beginner to go into the Beatles. I said, hey, you know what? Start with these 2. And this gave me an idea to make that video. First of all, answering the first question, how do I get the entire Beatles catalog? Well, in different decades, it was different. Well, in the 60s, you had to buy 12 classic UK albums, as you see behind me. Plus there were 22 singles and there were 13 EPs. And the Magical Mystery Tour was released as an EP. It was released as an album in the United Kingdom only in 1976. And there was a gazillions of records in America, you know, that I don't want to talk about. Also, there was an Oldies But Goldies compilation that had 1 song, Bad Boy. So you had to find this record to get the song Bad Boy. Now, in the 70s, in the late 70s, you had this box, which didn't have singles and didn't have EPs and didn't have Magical Mystery Tour. There was a box like that of the EPs, but you get the EP box only for Magical Mystery Tour, for 5 songs, maybe 6. And there's also, you have to buy the singles box because there's 22 singles and only, I believe, Yellow Submarine and Rigby, Come Together Something, and I'm the Warless, which is on the EP box, and Hard Day's Night, Came By My Love. A couple of songs are on the albums, and the rest of the songs are not on the albums. And I said, okay, let me make it, long story short, make it clear how easily a beginner Beatles collector can get every possible Beatles song. I mean, I hear from most of you that these two albums were the beginning of your career. For me, it was not. For me, it was the Love Songs compilation and the Hard Day's Night from Soviet Union with a Taste of Honey compilation. That was the three albums that began my Beatles career. Okay, now, so I wanna make it two versions of how you can get all the Beatles songs. Not the different variations of the albums, Beatles songs, the entire catalog. So those guys who do have this box involves all 12 classic UK albums, including these rarities. Now, these rarities has all the B-sides and the rare songs which are non-album singles, obviously. Which leaves us without A-sides. I Wanna Hold Your Hand, From Me to You, She Loves You, and so on. You don't have those songs here. And also you don't have Magical Mystery Tour. So, if you get Magical Mystery Tour and you get this blue box, you can complete the missing songs by getting these two albums. All the A-sides and all the greatest hits are here, and the B-sides of those singles are in the box, in the blue rarities, in the UK rarities version, not the American. And also you have to get the Magical Mystery Tour. So, I told him that's very easy. You can get blue box, you buy Magical Mystery Tour, and the rest of the songs that are missing, you get them on the two compilations, red and blue. Of course, you have many songs which are doubled. I mean, it's a greatest hits compilation, but still, you have all the songs that you need. That was by the end of 70s. That's how it was done, if you wanted to get all the songs. But in the late 80s, somebody did us a very good favor and released this album. A double album which is called Past Masters 1, Past Masters 2. Now, as you can understand, this album only replaces these three. Because this album contains all non-album singles, A-sides, B-sides, no matter what. So everything you have here is here, plus all the missing songs that you can find on red and blue. So this is the alternative that you can have. I mean, the must-have, the core, is this blue box and the Magical Mystery Tour. Now, if you want to ignore the Rarities album, you can get the Past Masters. If you don't want to ignore the Rarities album, you just get the blue and red compilation and that's it. Now, I mean, if there is somebody that doesn't like the box, doesn't want to have the box, it's easy. You can collect those 12 albums individually, plus Magical Mystery Tour, and plus Past Masters, you have the entire Beatles catalog. So, which brings me to conclusion. If these two albums were necessary, were the gate into the Beatles collecting in the 70s, why do we need them today? When we have all the songs, all the albums, and we have Past Masters. Why do we need those albums? I mean, the guy, he said, I'm not a Beatles collector, I don't care, I just want to have songs. I said, okay, just get these two and leave me alone. You don't need anthologies. And he was happy. But we, Beatles collectors, professional Beatles collectors, why do we need those? I mean, they said it's going to be remastered, it's going to be expanded. I mean, There are some songs from the albums which were already released as a 50th anniversary. Sgt. Pepper, for example. Those songs from Sgt. Pepper that are included on the Blue album, will those be those songs from the 50th anniversary or from the previous mixes? There are some songs from the albums which were not yet released as 50th anniversary, which is Rubber Soul. There's a big topic and big anticipation and big disappointment. So those songs that were on the Rubber Soul sessions will be remixed as a 50th anniversary or will be used the old versions. Now, if they have 50th anniversary remix of the Rubber Soul, it's a good news because they already made them and soon it will be released, just like it was with Let It Be. The Let It Be and Get Back movie was not yet released, but we saw a few moments from the rooftop performance, which was already remastered in the digital form. So they did it, but not yet released. So they gave us samples. Is gonna happen here as well? I mean, why do we need these compilations? I don't understand. To be honest, I'm not really a fan of these two compilations. These are the last albums, in the early days to enter my collection. Okay, so long story short, I mean, if you have these two and you have rarities, you just go with a blue box and you have the entire catalog. If you don't have a blue box and you don't want to have these rarities, just collect all those 12 albums with Magical Mystery Tour and with wonderful past masters. I mean, if they're already making some reissue, why not reissue past masters? Why not make this one, 30th anniversary or something? Anyway, that's my input. I personally believe that it's unnecessary. It's a money grab. Now, some guys might say, don't buy. Of course we're gonna buy. Why? Because we know that there is a new song coming now and then. Now, how it was going to be released? I thought, just like many of you, that Anthology 3 will be re-released with that song on it, as it's supposed to be in the 90s. That's version number 1. Version number 2, I just thought that it's going to be released as a 145, one song on the one side, B-side, and that's it. Just like Queen did with the last song, Face It Alone, that was released recently with the Miracle album. Face It Alone, Queen A-side, and the B-side has Face It Alone karaoke version. Or it could be released now and then the Beatles version and the B-side now and then Lennon version with the original noise. That would be a great release, but it's very cheap, and since it's Beatles, they want to have, money grab. So they decided what platform we're gonna use to release that song. Okay, let it be red and blue. Okay, so which means we have to buy it. That we have no other choice. Of course we're gonna buy. Now they're gonna make 3 albums each. What they're gonna do? They're gonna add more songs. It's endless. Beatles have something around 300 songs. You're gonna put all of them in the greatest compilation. On what criteria do you decide that this should be and it wasn't? I mean, when one was released in 2000 and there was no Strawberry Fields Forever, I was angry. But I understand it wasn't number 1. Okay, so there was a criteria which limited how many songs there are gonna be. But if you say we're gonna expand the red and blue album, okay, so take all of the songs, put them on the red, and all the songs from the later period, put them on the blue, okay, and stick there now and then. What is the criteria? When it's gonna end? Why 3 albums? Why not 4? It's endless. Why not make 2 big boxes of 4 albums each? So my opinion that this is absolutely unnecessary release, but we're gonna buy it anyway, and they force us to buy it if you want to have the song, because they're not gonna release it in this format. Absolutely not. That would be great. Okay, so that's my little input on the topic. We don't have any official information yet, but for all the beginners out there who are talking about red and blue albums as the beginning of their Beatles collecting, they were useful in the 70s to complete the discography. But now you have past masters. Why do you need red and blue? Anyway, that was my input on that topic. I will buy it, of course, but I don't think that it's a wise decision. Okay, that's what I wanted to say about this topic. And, I got it off my chest. Another topic that I want to talk about is that today is 8th of August. 4 years ago, on this day, I was inside Abbey Road Studios. 4 days from today, on 12th of August, I'm gonna be in the Abbey Road Studios again. In the same studio too. So, there is an announcement on my channel that there's going to be a live stream from the Abbey Road Studios. I'm gonna take my phone, I'm gonna go live on YouTube, and I will be showing you everything. So please join in, subscribe, like this video, join in, don't miss it. It's a once in a 5-6 years opportunity. If you cannot make it, just come into my channel and watch the live. It's going to be 6 p.m. London, UK time. 12th of August, this Saturday, coming Saturday, in 4 days. Today is 8, yeah. 4 days, 6 p.m. London time. Please don't miss. I'll be waiting. Yes, there's another topic. Paul McCartney is back on road. There is Australian dates announced, Brazilian dates announced, and I really hope that after Christmas and the New Year's holidays, he's gonna continue the tour in January, February, March, and he will come. Now he's going from east to west, and I hope then he comes from west to north, and then one east again back to Europe. So I think that either America or Europe is going to be the end of this tour. I think the next countries that he's gonna announce is going to be either Mexico or Japan, something like that, and then he's gonna come to Europe, and he will choose those cities and countries that he not visited so often. Okay, so really anticipating to see Paul McCartney live next year, because this year I don't believe that I can make it to Australia or Brazil, but I really hope that next year he comes to Germany or Europe. All right, so don't forget, 12th of August, in 4 days from today, 6 p.m. London time, come into my channel. There's going to be live stream. Just join in and enjoy the beauty of Abbey Road Studios. There's going to be a live stream, at least 40 minutes, 40 minutes at least. Okay, thank you very much, and keep collecting Beatles. Bye bye.